Yes, everybody. Welcome back to Threadmine Chazza. We're back again today with another video. Unfortunately, not a positive one today. A defeat at Newcastle, 2-0 to Newcastle United. We're going to try and make sense of that today. We're going to try and talk about sort of the game, how it went. We're going to try and make sense of everything. So, as always, please do get involved in the comments, guys. Let me know your thoughts of the game. What you thought of that game. Obviously not a good performance at all. We're going to try and sort of make sense of it today. But yes, guys, do get involved in the comments as always. But yeah, guys, we waited 2 weeks, no Man United game for 2 weeks. Last weekend, we were all sitting there, watching the international break, slightly bored probably, but I think we probably all wish that we could go back to that right now because that was not good enough at all. Where do we start, guys? I mean, our first half, I thought Newcastle were by far the better team. I think they ranked up nearly 2 expected goals. So, really, we could have been 2-0 down at half-time. I think we were lucky to get in at 0-0. I said to my mate, I'll be so happy to get in at 0-0 at half-time. And then 0-0, we thought we had a solid base to work from, just about to make our subs, just about to get Martial and Sancho on the pitch to make a bit of a difference. And then bang, as soon as we were about to make the subs, I think as soon as they came on maybe, or I don't know exactly when it was, Newcastle get their goal. So really, really disappointed. But let's see who we've got in the building today. We've got Alien Tenno, big up, mate. Absolute garbage. A lot of these players need to be sold. We've got Miles Johnson. Thanks a lot for coming along, Miles. The mentality of this team is still scarred. Our away form shows it. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's a good point. Ebrus says they're blaming Sancho again. I won't blame him if he leaves, and I love him too much, and I'll keep defending him. We'll talk about Sancho as well. Miles says summer clear out. Alien Tello, Sancho is garbage, and Book Block, our players are soft and technically super poor. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you coming along, guys. Please get your thoughts in the comments. As always, we're going to try and talk some sense today. As always, we're going to try and talk through what quite happened in that game. So, guys, I don't know what to say. I'm really lost for words. Another away game, another defeat. We haven't scored a goal for over, I think, is it 5 hours now? Over 5 hours for Premier League football, we haven't scored a goal. I just don't know what's happening. I just don't know what's happening. Obviously, we didn't score against Southampton, that was a bit of an anomaly because we had a red card. We obviously didn't score against Liverpool as well. And, we haven't won in the league for quite a while now. We haven't won in the league since the 19th of February. So, yes, guys, I'm really, really not sure. Alien Tennis says Bruno Fernandes is a wasteful player. NH, love your threads. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support, as always. Alien Tennis says De Gea stops it being 4-0. And then, defending Sancho. Okay, so let's get into it, guys, then. So, another defeat away from home. Couldn't score again today. As I said earlier, Newcastle were by far the better team. First half, should have been 2-0 up, really, if we're being honest. Obviously, De Gea makes that good first save, and then the second shot goes straight at him. But he's got the reflexes. He obviously keeps it out. Fair enough. And Newcastle, I think Joe Willock had a couple of great chances, and we're just giving away possession far too easily. I think we saw again, sort of, how poor we were building up from the back, right? We know we've got the issues building up from the back. We know we can't play through opposition pressure easily. And we saw many, many examples in that first half where, whether it be from De Gea, his distribution actually wasn't too bad in that first half. A couple of decent passes away from pressure, in all fairness, but you'd expect a goalkeeper to be able to do that. We just couldn't quite comfortably play through the sort of their press. And we were seeing Bruno Fernandes going so deep. So Bruno Fernandes was going deep. We started with McTominay as a number 10 up against Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle. So it's a bit of an unorthodox team from Ten Hag. And that first half was really, really poor. Anthony had a couple of decent moments, but overall, guys, that first half was poor. Weghorst was really poor. McTominay was poor. That Varane and Martinez were playing reasonably well. A few important blocks, tackles, as they normally do. Played reasonably well. But other than that, guys, that first half was really poor. We were lucky not to be 2-0 down. And then we come out in the second half, and it's just we're just lacking so many things. I think McTominay goes back into the 6. Bruno goes into a more attacking position, but we didn't see anything from Bruno really in terms of attacking output in that second half. And then Rashford virtually non-existent. Anthony probably the best of a bad bunch, but he didn't play well at all really. Anthony is probably just maybe just below average performance. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't fantastic at all. And then, as I said, as soon as we want to bring Martial and Sancho on to try and impact the game, bang, Newcastle score. It's just so disappointing, so disappointing. And to be fair to Martial, I thought he was our best player when he came on. I thought, he had a few nice touches. He had a shot that was deflected wide. We certainly looked a lot more dangerous when Martial was on than we did with Weghorst in the first half. But still, we can't be relying on one player to try and produce something brilliant like we have with Rashford. We've been relying on Rashford to produce one brilliant moment. We've seen Rashford produce those moments, but you've got to play as a team. And I think under Ten Hag, for quite a few weeks, we were playing much better as a team, in and out of possession. We were playing better as a team. Rashford was scoring a lot of the goals, but we were at least playing better as a team. And I think in the last few weeks, we've gone back to old traits again, where we're giving the ball away too easy. It's like pinball. We're just giving it away too easy, and then we get counted upon. Pressure build, and eventually the opposition score. So, yeah, guys, I think it's a similar. That was like another Ollie performance. Under Ollie, we had those type of performances, and it's just really, really poor. And I think the common factor is that we've got the similar players playing as they did under Ollie, and I think there is. There are a lot of issues to sort out in this team, and we're going to talk about which positions in a bit. But I think Erik Ten Hag will know that, and we'll talk about Erik Ten Hag as well, because I think he made a few mistakes as well, in all fairness. De Gea I think De Gea made a few decent saves in this game. There's no doubt about that. But the one where he made a great save, I can't remember who it was from, where he saved it onto the bar. He could have claimed that cross before. So yeah, he could have done that, but he's never going to do that, De Gea. So, it's a good save, but he could prevent that shot from happening in the first place. Yeah, it's not good enough. We'll talk about that. It's funny because we subbed off around. Yeah, to be honest with you, that defending was shocking. And that's what's going to happen when you take off. When you disrupt your team structure that badly, and you end up with just Lindelof was the only centre-back on the pitch, you've obviously got the risk of that happening. Yeah, and I hope Sancho can make it. And fair enough for sticking with Sancho. Everyone's got their own favourite players. And I still hope it's going to work out for him. But for a lot of our players right now, it's not just Sancho, by the way. Like, for a lot of our players right now, we're talking at this moment in time, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Honestly, Alien Turner, I'm going to say this. I think it's going to be tough. I still think we've got a great chance of getting Champions League football. I'm still confident we can do it. But I actually think we've got as much chance of winning the Europa League as we have of maybe finishing third. I think we've got a chance of winning that Europa League still. I still think, I look at the teams that are still in that competition. It's not going to be easy. But I still think we've got as much chance of winning the Europa League than we have maybe finishing third. I think finishing third is going to be a tough task. Obviously, we're on the same points as Newcastle. But we've got some tough away. We've still got to play Brighton, Spurs, Forest and West Ham away. We've still got to play Chelsea at home as well. And I know Chelsea are not playing well, and you could say blah, blah, blah. But it's not going to be a massively easy game against Chelsea. It's not going to be easy, especially if we play like this. But I think at home, I'm more confident, though. I think away from home is where the issue stands. But the Europa League, I think we'll still try and win that. And the FA Cup as well. But as I said, it's going to be tough. I tweeted out about this schedule. It's going to be tough, man. Yeah, that is true. Sancho is not the type of player who is going to. Sancho is not the type of player who's going to produce that sort of magic on his own, and that's the other problem. That's the problem, as you said. We've got to create the chances. We've got to create the right team structure. For a lot of our players, I think Donny van der Beek suffered from this as well. Donny van der Beek is very much a system player. So if the system isn't working, Donny's not going to perform because he's not going to produce anything magic, a long shot or a magic piece of skill. But he will benefit when the teams play well, when we create more opportunities in the box. That's where he's going to benefit. Edwin says, thanks for coming along, Edwin. Iqbal and Mino should have more opportunities. I think stylistically they should, but if you look maybe at the development side of things, maybe Ten Hag doesn't think that they're quite ready with their development, the mental side of thing maybe. But I think that, in terms of their quality and what they can offer, they probably could. But I think in terms of the development, because they're still young players, maybe Ten Hag doesn't want to throw them into the fold too early. Alien Tenor says, Martial, Sancho, McTominay, Vegas, you're not good enough. I certainly agree. I think the last two will not be good enough to start in the Manchester United side. I think Martial and Sancho's ability is good enough, but whether Martial can consistently stay fit and whether Sancho can consistently get into this team, I'm not so sure. Everton as well. Everton at home is not an easy game with Sean Dyche, so we'll see. But yeah, guys, I think it's going to be really, really tough from now on in. I think we've still got to go to. We've got to play Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final as well, and that is by no means an easy game. We've obviously got to play Brighton in the league as well, away from home. So we've got some very, very tough games to come. But I've looked at the other fixtures as well for the other teams. Obviously Spurs, you don't know really how they're going to react to losing Conte. So we're obviously not quite sure what's going to happen with Spurs yet. But this is Newcastle's. Actually, I'll get it up on the. I'll get it up on the screen so we can see Newcastle's fixtures for the rest of the season, because their fixtures are not easy as well, by the way. So let me just share my screen and I'll show the Newcastle fixtures. So yeah, these are Newcastle's fixtures for the rest of the season. So these aren't easy games, by the way. And obviously we've got to do our own work first, so we can't just worry about other teams. But Newcastle's fixtures are not easy games. So that's why I still said I think it's going to be tough for us in terms of our own performance. I can see us losing a few more games, but in terms of the other teams as well, I don't think you can trust Newcastle over a long spell, and I don't think you can trust Spurs as well. If you look at this Newcastle, they've got to go to West Ham, Brentford and Villa in their next 3 games. Now, I know West Ham are not playing particularly that well, but West Ham, Brentford and Villa are not easy places to go. We know that. And then they've obviously got Spurs at home, which is sort of good for us because those teams will take points off each other. Everton away, Sean Dyche, never easy. Southampton at home, you'd expect them to win. Arsenal at home, tough game. Leeds away, tough. Leicester at home, you'd expect them to win. And Chelsea away is quite a tough game. So all I'm saying is, guys, we're on the same points as Newcastle right now. And I think it could be tough for us. I think we could lose a few more games. But if you look at Newcastle's fixtures there's a lot of games there that you look for Newcastle and you think they're probably not going to win the majority of those games. And I know if you look at our fixtures, you're going to say the same thing. But what I'm saying is, have we got enough just to pit them by a few points to the end of the season? We'll see. But we've got Brentford at home. Obviously, at home, we're a different beast, right? We might drop some points at home, but you'd expect at home we would be able to dispatch most of these teams. So we've got Brentford at home, Everton at home. Now, then, I'm not saying these are definite wins. I think they're tough games. I said to my mate before this game, I said I'd take 7 points out of Newcastle, Brentford and Everton. I said I might even take 6 or 5 points because they're going to be 3 tough games. And obviously, we've got nothing today. Brentford at home and Everton at home. We're at home. We've got a great record at home, but they won't be easy games. So if we do win those games, we might win by 1 goal, 2 goals, maybe late goal, but you wouldn't expect us to win 4 or 5-0, but you'd expect us to at least win 1 and draw, right? So you would expect us to get a decent return. And then we've got Notts Forest away, which is a tough game. Nottingham Forest at home are doing really, really well this season. But obviously we beat them there in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, Chelsea's postponed. That's obviously the FA Cup. But then we go back to the league. So Tottenham away is a tough game, even though they're not doing well. It's going to be a 6-pointer. Villa at home, Unai Emery. They've won at Tottenham and Chelsea this season. They've beaten us under Emery as well. So that's tough. Brighton away is tough. West Ham away is never easy. And then you've got Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, and Fulham at home. So you look there and you still think there's enough there for us at home, the home games in particular, to get enough points to finish third or fourth. But I think what worries me is these away games. I think Tottenham, I think Forest, Tottenham, Brighton, West Ham, even Bournemouth, they're going to be fighting for their lives. And Bournemouth, obviously, they've beaten Liverpool at home this season. I know we're better than Liverpool this season, but still, it's the Premier League, guys. And when teams are fighting for points like this, it's never easy. So I'm looking at these games and I'm just thinking it's not going to be easy, guys. I think the home games, I'm reasonably confident, but these away games, I think, could cause us one or two problems. And then if you look at Spurs have got, obviously, if Spurs win against Everton tomorrow, we go 5th in the league. So that would be a big blow. But Everton away, Brighton at home, there are two really tough games. You'd expect them to beat Bournemouth, Newcastle away, then they've got us at home, Liverpool away, and then they've got Palace at home, and then they've got Villa away and Leeds away still to come. So you look at Tottenham's fixtures as well. There's a lot of tough games. You'd expect all these teams to take points off each other. So to be honest with you guys, if I'm looking at this, if I look at this here, this is the table now. Our goal difference could be the thing that might let us down. Obviously, it's going to be hard to get back up to sort of 12. We're definitely not going to get to 22 goal difference, but it's going to be difficult for us to get back up to that 12. I don't think we will. But we've obviously got a game in hand on Spurs, which is really good. But we've got to make sure that we dispatch our games at home. I think if we can win all our games at home, I think we'll be there. But that's easier said than done. Easier said than done, guys. So yeah, guys, that's just the fixtures and the table. It's going to be a real battle. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes down to the final day in terms of 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We've obviously got Fulham at home on the last day, so that's not a nasty game really to play on the last day. So it's, I know Fulham really played better than us in that game, but you'd expect us to be able to just get over the line. I think Newcastle have got Chelsea away on the last day, so that obviously helps us out. And Spurs have got a Leeds away, so we probably got the easiest of the last day fixture. So if it does go down to that last day, you'd probably slightly fancy us. But the way the season's gone, you wanted us to get that top 4 secured sort of earlier than this sort of time. We're now in a position again now where me and I suppose a lot of you guys are probably thinking about it, thinking, we're actually in a top 4 race again, and it could be a problem. So yeah, guys, just looking at the Sancho debate in the comments, nice debate going on about Sancho in the comments. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, guys, just, everyone's entitled to their opinion. So you've got to respect each other's opinion on Sancho. I think Imran, thanks for coming along, Imran. I think Imran's right here. It's very unbalanced, but the thing is, we don't really have any other option right now. A lot of people talked about McTominay. Why did he start? Well, he started because of his physicality. Fred, Sabitzer, and Bruno's a bit lightweight. At least McTominay can win a header or two. I think he did that a couple of times, put a few decent physical challenges in. I don't rate McTominay highly, but you have to have a balanced midfield in terms of height as well. And I think that's probably the only reason why McTominay started the game. And I think that's the only reason why Ten Hag values McTominay. That's the only thing I think about when I want McTominay to start is for a bit of height, for a bit of for his physical attributes. I don't think about his quality in terms of what he can offer on the ball. I actually just think he's actually quite tall. He'll win a few headers. Compared to the other players we've got in midfield, it'll balance it out, especially if Casemiro doesn't play. So that's the problem we're in, guys. We're starting players because they're physical players, not because they're good footballers. And hopefully we can change that next season. We can sign some, technically better footballers. Imran says, I can't lie, Weghorst looks slow each game. Yeah, man. I mean, Weghorst, I've praised him in past weeks. I think the first few weeks he came in, he did a good job. And I think anyone who says otherwise, I think that's unfair. But to be honest with you, the last few games, I think Weghorst has played poorly. And we know he's not good enough to start for us, but generally he's not been playing well. He started every game since he came, but yeah, not been good enough recently at all, as have many other players there. Ibris says we need a complete rebuild in the summer, new centre back, understudy for Casemiro, new midfielder and striker. I'd also add a goalkeeper in there as well, a right back possibly. I know a lot of people, the De Gea debate is a massive, massive debate. A lot of people are not happy about De Gea. A lot of people really back up De Gea. But to be honest with you guys, I don't think you should be against having a goalkeeper coming in to at least challenge De Gea, right? So even if you want De Gea to stay, I think it would be a good idea to at least get a goalkeeper in to challenge David De Gea. Even if you think De Gea should remain sort of the main goalkeeper, we definitely need to bring in at least somebody who can challenge him as well. So I think you're right, Bruce. I'll add a couple of other positions in there as well. Obviously, we can't do everything in one window unless we generate a lot through sales. So I'm just hoping we can generate 100 million through sales. McTominay, Maguire, and Dean Henderson will, because two of them are English, they'll go. Their prices will be inflated a bit, so we might be able to make quite a bit from them. Bubba says McTominay started at 6, we'd be better off. Yeah, you never quite know with hypotheticals, but we could have been. But then you get the issue that Newcastle's first goal was caused by De Gea played it to Varane. Varane was a bit shaky, gave away a throw-in. The ball came to the edge of our box. McTominay was messing around at the edge of the box. And then loads of other things happened that other players could have done. And then they score. But I was talking to somebody on Twitter, debating with somebody on Twitter about this. When you've got a problem, when a goal is scored in football, you've got to focus on the first thing that led to that chance being created. What was the primary foundation error that caused that chance to be created? And it was Varane not being able to play out from the back. De Gea didn't do brilliantly either. And then McTominay at the edge of our box messing around instead of clearing it. And this is what I'm saying. We could say we would have played better, but McTominay is not a number 6. He's not comfortable in deep areas around our own box. He's actually a number 8. He's best with his late runs into the box. You don't want him near your own box. And him being near our own box led to the second goal being scored their first goal being scored along with lots of other things as well, by the way. But still, McTominay did poorly. I pray we get Qatar. Yeah, I mean, look, with this ownership situation, I'm just waiting and seeing what's happening because I'm still not too sure about this ownership situation. I'm just going to sit and observe for now because I'm a little bit uncertain about this ownership. I hope it goes through and I hope somebody else takes over, but I'm a little bit unsure at the moment. We'll see. United are punched above their weight. That's a great line there. Definitely we have. Mentally, this core of players have just not got it. It's no coincidence. Martinez, Varane. Yeah, I think when those 4 start Alien Turner, I think that's where we're at our best. And I said on Twitter, Casemiro, we've still lost when Casemiro's in the team, right? We've still lost, and we've still played well when he hasn't been in the team. But Casemiro obviously makes Manchester United a better team. We all get that, but we didn't lose today because we didn't have Casemiro. If you see what I'm trying to say, you can't just say, and I know you're not saying that, but some people are saying that's what happens when Casemiro doesn't play. Without Casemiro, we went to Leeds and won 2-0. We beat Leicester 3-0 at home. We obviously drew 2-2 at home to Leeds, but we still have to do better without Casemiro. We've got enough. We should have enough quality at Manchester United to get by without him, and the manager should have enough ability as a manager tactically to get around the issue. But I feel for the manager because you look at that quality and you think, well, actually in midfield, we don't have a direct replacement for him. So that's maybe why we struggle. But also you've got to look at other factors as well. We've got to expect more from the attacking players. We've got to expect more from the defending players. So it's not just about Casemiro, but we do play generally. We tend to play better when we have Casemiro and Eriksen in midfield. I think people forget Eriksen. I think Eriksen's vitally important to this team. With his with Eriksen's a little bit more guile in midfield. He's not the most resistant under pressure. He's not world class for that sort of position we need, but he is a top footballer, and it is something that we lack. Eriksen's guile in midfield when he's not there. So I think when those 4 play, we are better generally, but still we have to do better without them. we have to do better without them. And I agree with this. I agree with this. If we can get Eriksen back, if we can get a Martial back, if we can sort of try to build from there with our best 11 players on the pitch that we've got, I still think, as I said, I'm quite confident we can get top 4 over the line, on even third. But we haven't got those players at the moment. Martial came on, decent cameo today, but we need these players to be able to rely on them week in, week out to play 90 minutes, and that's our problem. Hebrew says, I say get either Maignan or Costa, Kim Min Jae, Timber, Gravenberg, De Jong or Caicedo, Ramos or Osimhen, or also Holland or Ferguson. Yeah, I think a lot of those names you've mentioned would be good signings. I think the goalkeeper situation definitely needs to be sorted out. I agree about the centre-back. I think we need a backup centre-back, or even a starting centre-back. Midfield, I don't think De Jong's going to come. I think we're going to have to go for a slightly less popular name, if that makes sense. Gonçalo Ramos would be my pick at the moment from what I've seen. Varane isn't a ball-playing centre-back. That's true. But I think Varane also offers a lot of other good attributes for us. But yeah, Varane isn't comfortable under pressure. That's definitely right. And that showed for that first goal. Alien Tenor is right. Are the Glazers holding on to see what's going to happen this season? Obviously, we won the Carabao Cup. Are they going to hold on a bit longer to see if we win anything else? Possibly, but I think their mind's already made up, the Glazers. I just don't know whether they're playing politics or whether they actually want to get rid of it and they're just waiting for the best bid. We'll see. Yeah, it's not good enough from De Gea. I agree with you, Jose. I think David De Gea makes good reflex saves. Pardon me. But the issue is with De Gea, a lot of times he has to make the save because he doesn't come and claim the cross. So the cross is there to be claimed, and a lot of other goalkeepers would claim the cross. He doesn't claim it, and then a shot comes in. And that happened today. And I agree with Jose on this because it's not good enough. You can't have a goalkeeper that doesn't command his box anymore or doesn't command their area, sort of their defensive third when the other team have put a ball in behind. And David De Gea's got to do better. He's got to do better. But I don't think he ever will because I don't think that's not in his skill set. Sweeping, generally, coming for things, distribution isn't in his skill set. So I don't think he's going to really improve it enough to get us to a good enough level. It makes good saves, but that's not enough at the modern game, unfortunately. I hope Bruce. I think we're going to need 200 million plus player sales. So that's going to be about 300. Hopefully we get that, but we let's not forget, we need to improve our footballing structure at the top of the club as well. It's not just about the money. We need to make sure at the top of the club, we've got the football structure correct, because in recent years, we've spent unwisely, not in the right areas. We've spent on flashy names, you name it, we've done it wrong. And yeah, we've got to do better. Bookmark says, I think we need to clear as many Oli Mourinho players as we can. I think there's still a lot of players in the squad that are not suited to the team. And that's why I'm saying a lot of people, I think, are not quite aware of our frailties until these type of results happen. So I was saying, even when we were winning games back in, January, February, we went on a great run until March. I said to people, there's still a lot of things that need to be sorted out here. The build-up's a massive problem. The security in midfield is a massive problem. The lack of prolific number 9 is a massive problem. The lack of ball-playing goalkeeper is a massive problem. The lack of ball-playing centre-back's a massive problem. The lack of a reliable right-back's a problem. And these are all problems. But when we were winning games, everyone's happy. Of course, I was as well. But then when this sort of result happens, everyone gets drawn back to reality. And it's not just because of today. It's over months and months and months. We've seen the same players, the same issues, the same structural problems as well. And yeah, we know that we need sort of new signings. The manager's looking to I think this is something interesting. So I've been reading Ten Hag's biography. So Ten Hag, someone's written a book about Ten Hag. I've been reading it. It goes back to all from his Go Ahead Eagles, his Twente days, his Bayern Munich days, his Ajax days. I'm reading that at the moment. And Ten Hag talks a lot about valuing the personality of players on a human level, what they bring as a person, not just as a player, right? Now, David De Gea is a Manchester United legend. Even if I don't think he should be the goalkeeper that should take Man United forward, and I don't think he should be the goalkeeper that should take Man United forward in the coming years, I can still respect what he's done for the club and the type of influence he's had on the club. Now, we know Ten Hag values personality, he values that mentality side, he values players that have contributed well to a football club before. He values that loyalty, perhaps. And that's another reason why I think Ten Hag wants to renew De Gea's contract. So that's just my view. Obviously, he's made a lot of good saves this season, but still, if you look into the stats, and I know people don't like to look into stats, but if you look into stats, overall, he's been a net negative in terms of shot stopping. So although he makes the odd fantastic reflex save, if you look at the stats don't back that up. So I think it's something I could probably look into in more detail on a thread or something, because you need to look at the stats and look at the eye test together. So I'll probably have a look at that in future. Ibrus says Ten Hag is partially to blame. Yeah, he is. He is partially to blame. But I'll keep backing, and I won't be like those fans on Twitter saying Ten Hag out. Yeah, me neither. You know, he's won a trophy already in his first season. If you win a trophy in your first season, you buy yourself so much more time, by the way. You buy yourself so much more time. If you can win a trophy in your first season, you deserve so much more time because you've got that base to build from. So yeah, Ten Hag still, overall, I think he's been a real net positive to Manchester United so far. Even if Qatar is in control of the rebuild, yeah, the debt to take off, the stadium, lackluster squad, yeah, exactly. So that's what I said earlier today. It's not just about people just want Qatar because they've got loads of money. Okay, fair enough. But what are you going to do with the money? How are you going to manage the finances? You know, what footballing structure are you going to look to implement? These are the things we need to talk about, not just the money side of things. We also need to look at the structural side of things. You know, we've seen a lot of teams down the years who have had lots of money and succeeded. We've seen lots of teams down the years who've had lots of money and not succeeded, i.e. us in the last few years. We've also seen teams down the years that have not got a lot of money to spend but are successful. So it's not just about the money side of things, it's about the structural side of things. And I think in the recruitment department, we have to improve. I think we really, really have to improve on our recruitment. I think recruitment side of things, we could definitely improve. So I think that's why I think last summer we overpaid for players simply because we didn't have a plan B. And I don't think that's the manager's responsibility. I think the manager has to have some say on transfers, but he needs backup from the recruitment team. You know, you can't be one man and manage every part of the club. Ten Hag wants to focus on he wants to be a coach as well. He's not just a manager, he's also a coach. And also he's working with players individually, and also he needs to sort the transfers out. That's not good enough. We need to help Ten Hag. We need to provide him with more alternatives so that this summer, hopefully, we can get the new owners in place. I don't think this is going to happen the way we're going, but hopefully we can get the new owners in place before the transfer window starts. And hopefully we can start to build some sort of structure. But it's going to be hard because it's already April now. So that is going to be difficult. But yes, guys, get your comments in, guys. I might have a little look on Twitter now, share my screen of any post-match comments from Ten Hag, because I'm sure he's probably come out with some comments so far. So let me see if I can get any comments up from Erik Ten Hag. Yeah, so we've got some comments here from Ten Hag. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen here. So we've got some comments here. I'm just going on the United stand. So this is all from Sky anyway. So let me just up the zoom a bit. Okay, so we've got a comment here. Ten Hag, I hate to say it, but Newcastle were better today. Yep, fair enough. If the team didn't show enough passion and desire, yes. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you could put a little bit down to that. But I just thought the quality was poor as well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that. Like, I look at a lot of our players, Varane, Martinez. You know, they were aggressive as they could have been, really. There's a couple of players you could have said could have given a little bit more, but in terms of actual quality, I think the quality element for me was a big part of it today. Like, I think we could have given so much more quality to the game. It's not just about running around like headless chicken. You've got to play with quality as well. You've got to put your foot on the ball sometimes. Put your foot on the ball and just play a few 5-yard passes just to try and get. And obviously, it's difficult when you're being pressed high. But there were a lot of parts in the game where Newcastle was sitting off in sort of a mid block, so they weren't pressing high. They weren't sitting back in a low block. They were actually sort of midway. So we could have tried to sustain a few attacks and tried to sustain a bit of possession. But I just don't think we did that at all. And I say these things. I think you guys probably know by now. I say these things every time. I mean, I feel like a broken record. I keep saying the same things. We should have built up from the back better. We don't have the profiles for it. We haven't got enough security in midfield. You know, Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away cheaply, as does Sabitzer, as does McTominay, as does Fred, as does Casemiro. Eriksen does it as well, but he's maybe a little bit more efficient with the passes that he does sort of get off. So Ten Hag says Newcastle could easily come into our box. We did well blocking shots. We did. Yeah, he is right. That's why I said Varane and Martinez today for me played perfectly okay. I thought they were probably our two best players. They blocked a lot of things. They tackled pretty well. But you've got to expect more from the rest of the team to stop those sort of opportunities coming. So yeah, I agree with Ten Hag there. Yeah, I agree with this. I think when Martial came on, we were slightly better, but still wasn't good enough. So yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. I can't really. I keep saying the same things every single time. We sort of have a poor to average result. I seem to say the same sort of things. I think away from home, I think it's massive issues away from home. I really do. You know, I just don't think we're good enough away from home in big moments. So yeah. This is a good comment as well. I think a striker makes a little bit of difference if you have someone who can run the channels, try and get over that pressure. But HTO is right here. H is right here about sort of controlling games from the back. So there's no good signing just a centre forward if you can't get the ball to that centre forward. So I actually agree with him there. So yeah, guys, there are just a few comments through Twitter there. But yeah, guys, any other comments? Who would we get apart from De Jong? I've seen a lot of different midfield players this season. Enzo Lefebvre, I'm still scouting him further. Enzo Lefebvre. So I'm going to watch him a bit further. He looks like a decent prospect, but he's very raw. Kakare, for me, from Lyon, is a bit more developed than Lefebvre is. I think Kakare from Lyon, I've watched him probably about 15 full 90s of him throughout his Lyon career so far. So I've a decent sample size of him, and I've been impressed with him. So Kakare looks like a real good player. But yeah, Enzo Lefebvre is a good talent, but he's very raw. I think he's still got a long way to go. Winnings on our last 3 games. Liverpool and Newcastle away, tough games, but the state of those, if we would have been beaten by Liverpool 1-0 or 2-0, and we would have put in a decent performance, if we would have been beaten today 2-0, and we would have at least put in a performance and controlled elements of the game, then we could have come back and said, you know what, we've lost 2-0 against Liverpool, we've lost 2-0 against Newcastle, but actually we played decently well. We've got a good sort of foundation to work from. But I think people need to realise there's still a lot of players in this team that will not be part of the Erik ten Hag's system going forward. So, yep, I agree with you, mate. I haven't got enough. I can't really say what I think about the Glazers here. I'm sure we'll talk about it at Old Trafford on Wednesday and Saturday if you're there. But yeah, Glazers, man, it's just pathetic. Really is pathetic. The Glazers have ruined this football club. Even if we have a successful season and win a couple or two more, they've got to go, man. They've definitely got to go. We will be back here, Bruce. We will be back. I still think overall it's been a net positive season. I mean, we've took a few hits. It's been a weird season. It really has. I can't remember many times in the season where I've sat back and thought, oh, that was all right. Most games I come back, I think, yes, get in. Or I sit back and my heart is just, I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart. And today's another one of those days. There's not been many games this season I've come back from and thought, not much to talk about there, average performance. It's mostly been one way or the other, hasn't it? Extreme. So we will be back. I still think we've had a good season, considering everything that's happened, considering all the things we've had to deal with, considering the Glazers still here on all the uproar. Maguire, he's dropped Maguire and it's mostly worked. We've had a net positive without Maguire. Ronaldo's gone. And since Ronaldo's gone, overall, I think the team has mostly played better. I think Veghorst's coming in for a lot of games, played reasonably well, but I think he's gone downhill a lot recently. And overall, I think we've been better than I thought we would be this season. However, there's been 3 or 4 results in particular where I've been really, really concerned. It's been the same old again as we had last season. That Alien Tenor, honestly, we've got to play Brighton, and probably if we beat Brighton, we're going to play Man City. The FA Cup's not going to be easy. The Europa League, we've got Sevilla. I don't care what anyone says where they are. That's going to be a tough game, tough tie. Sporting or Juventus will be tough. But let's be honest, we've still got a lot to play for, right? We've still got a lot to play for. We should be excited about these type of opportunities. You know what I mean? We could be in Spurs' position where all they've got to play for is the top 4. We can still win. We could still win 2 trophies this season. I think it'd be tough to win both. I think it could be, it's hard to win only 1 trophy, but we've still got a chance to make it even more of a successful season. If we get Champions League football, we've got a cup in the bag. That would be a very, very good season, in my opinion. However, I still think we're going to have some tough tests to come. So we have to improve. We have to improve. And I think if we can get Casemiro and Eriksen, it's both players we need. People think it's just Casemiro. It's Eriksen as well. Although he's not the perfect profile that we need in that midfield, he's the best we've got to put alongside Casemiro or slightly ahead of Casemiro. Eriksen, we need Eriksen to come back. We need him to come back. If we can get Eriksen back in for those tough fixtures, those away fixtures, we've got to play Spurs away. We've got to play Brighton in the FA Cup. We've got to play Sevilla. The tough away games that we've got to go to. You need somebody who can put their foot on the ball and can pass it around a little bit more confidently than we can at the moment. And I think Eriksen hopefully will come back and he'll be back quickly to what he was producing sort of at the start of the season. Because I think he did tail off a bit with fatigue, which is understandable. We need Eriksen back as well. It's not just about Casemiro. Eriksen's massive. I agree. Imran, that's why I said to Alien Tenor, I think he makes a good point about the fixture congestion and things like that. But I think we've got as much of a chance to go all the way in the Europa League than we have to finish third now. I think the league fixtures are looking very, very tough. I think we are quite good in like ties where we are quite good where we can devise a plan on the opposition. We can sit back in a mid block or a lower block, be quite resolute and hit on the counter attack in Europe. And I fancy us when we do play that European game at home, we've got enough. I think we've got enough. But I think it's in these league games. I think in the Europa League, we've gone to tough away grounds. We've gone to tough away grounds in the Europa League. Real Sociedad is not an easy game. Barcelona, Real Betis, and we've not lost any games away from home in the Europa League. I think we've done reasonably well in those games. Against Barcelona, we probably deserve to win the game away from home. And I think it's been in the league where we've struggled more. So yeah, I see what you're saying. He just threw the kitchen sink at it. So, it was always going to look badly structured. He did make some mistakes today, Ten Hag, but to be honest with you, I don't really blame him for what he did at the end. Maybe he was just looking to rest Martinez and Varane. No injuries to those players. They are key defenders for us. So let's just, take them off. Maybe. I think fourth. I do think fourth. I still think we're going to get in the top 4, by the way. I just think third place is going to be a bit of a tough ask considering how many tough away grounds we've got to go to. But we'll see. I'd love to win it. I'm still hoping to go to Budapest if we get to the final, but as I said, we've still got to play some decent teams. So let's see. Yeah, we just didn't get him involved in the game. He was poor as well when the ball went up to him, so not good enough. I think it's on both, to be honest with you, Imran. I see where you're coming from. I think Ten Hag takes some of the blame, but also the players have to take the blame as well. Yeah, I think he needs a rest. I think he needs a bit of a period out of the team. And I think that period out of the team will hopefully come soon. But I'm going to be honest with you. We've got Brentford at home next, a very, very physical side, a very, very good team on set pieces. I know Weghorst isn't as good as he should be in the air for a 6'6" striker, but I don't see Weghorst being dropped for that game because I just think the height that Brentford possess without Casemiro as well, I think we'll need as many physical players in that team. I think McTominay will play again on Wednesday just because we need some physicality in that team to deal with the set pieces. So I agree with you. I think at some point Weghorst needs a rest, but I don't know when it's going to be. Let's take a look at a few more quotes from the game if we can. Thanks to everybody who's stuck with this stream that long. I know it's a painful one. There you go. Some food on the timeline there if you're feeling hungry. If you want to, please do like the video if you're enjoying, by the way. If you're new, please do subscribe and obviously get involved in the comments as well. But I'm just going to look at a few more quotes from Ten Hag. I'm going to look at a few more quotes. I'm just trying to find United Stand because they've got all the quotes up there. So let me just get the quotes up here. So yeah. Here we go. So this is the latest quote we got up to, guys. So Ten Hag says, it's normal, a dip in form. It's normal in the season. You get setbacks. You have to deal with it. I don't have that concern. I believe in my team. They were Newcastle were the better team today, especially their determination, passion, and desire. Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree with that. It's not one player. That's why I said, Weghorst, for example, he was really, really poor when the ball went up to him. But it wasn't just him. Rashford was poor. Anthony was poor. And Anthony was probably the best of the bad bunch, to be fair. I wouldn't say he was poor. He was average. Bruno was mostly poor. Sabitzer was mostly poor. McTominay, so when you are an attacking player in this type of game, I can give the attacking players a bit more leniency because the attacking players are not getting any. Obviously, you can think, they need to create their own chances, but the attacking players are not getting fed the ball with a good enough pass often enough to be able to create chances and to take chances. So it's not just down to the attacking players, and it's, you've got to build from the back. You've got to be able to create those opportunities for those attacking players. So yeah, that's what I think there. We played too high in midfield. I don't know what to say. I'm losing the will here. We made changes to bring more energy. Then in the end, we were losing, so we decided to go 3 at the back. So yeah, not good enough. Not good enough, to be honest with you. Yeah, so just not good enough. I don't know what to say, guys. I don't know whether I can talk about too many more things now. I'm struggling now, to be honest with you. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think that top 4 race. That's why I said the top 4 race. I still think we're going to get top 4, but it's going to be ups and downs because you can't trust any other team. You can't trust anybody to finish in that top 4 comfortably. I think a lot of the teams are going to drop points. Yeah, fair enough. If you think a player isn't good enough generally, then they need to be sold. Fair enough. Alien Tenno, yeah, fair enough. I know you're not a great fan of Weghorst. Nuruddin, I didn't see him, mate. I don't know what he said. And yeah, you're right, man. Thanks a lot, Booklock. Thanks a lot for everybody for coming along. I think we're going to end it there, guys. I'm losing the will now. I need to go and have a bit of a rest, a bit of a break. I don't know what to say. I still think we've had a good season. Thanks a lot, Ibris, mate. You know, we try and you know, talk sensibly. We try and bring a bit of balance to what we're saying here on this in this community. I'm really happy you subscribed. I really, really appreciate that. You know, I never do things for clicks and all this. I just speak from the heart, speak from the mind. I'll always just be honest with what I think. And today wasn't good enough. The last few games have not been good enough. And we will need to improve for the rest of the season. I think we will improve when we get, if we get Casemiro and Eriksen back in midfield, if we can get Martial fit and playing for full games to the end of the season, which I don't think is going to happen because he's getting injured too often. But if we can get Martial back, I think he will be a massive player for us. But I'm not sleeping. I'm not here waiting for Martial to... I'm still signing a striker or two in the summer, by the way. I'm not relying on Martial. I just think till the end of the season, we can only use what we've got. So if Martial can come back and he can start to give us more, I think we will improve. And I still think we'll get over the line. But it could be a rocky road to the end of the season. But I appreciate all the comments, guys. Please do like the video if you're still watching right now. Let's try and hit 20 likes if we can. I don't know how many likes we're on now, but let's try and hit 20 likes, guys. I appreciate all the support. We'll be back. There'll be no analysis from this game, I don't think. We'll be back again maybe next week at some point with a video, if not the week after. But yeah, I really, really appreciate it, guys. Take care, and we'll be back soon.